Hello and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you haven't been here before. Today I am actually going to be doing my very first tutorial. So I've had a lot of people ask me to do a landscaping tutorial, and I really wanted to do one for you guys because I thought it would be really fun to kind of give you my tips and tricks and just how I do landscaping and give you some ideas. So I have built 3 different types of homes, and just ignore the beautiful builds that I have built for this tutorial. So I built this one here is kind of like a cottage home. I built this one, which is more like, I guess, more modern, and I kind of was going to do like a desert landscape. And then this one is more like a suburban. So the biggest thing and the first thing that I always do is I always open the cheat window, and I always have move objects, the show live edit objects, and then the show hidden objects. So that way it just opens everything up for me. I don't have to worry about, searching for everything. I have all the debug, and that way we can get started with the landscaping. So let's do this cottage first. So usually what I do is I always work in layers. So my biggest thing is I usually start with this wild grass, and I just really like how it looks. And I always put it really close to the base of the home because I like how it just kind of fills in the space a little bit. So I usually put it up against the base of the house, and I usually add it the size that it is. Sometimes I resize it to make it a little bit smaller, but I usually keep it the same size. So I just follow the trace of the house, which I am doing right now. So I'm really sorry if this is slow. I'm used to my sped up builds. So this is going to seem kind of monotonous. Okay, I'm not going to go around the whole base of the house. That'll be annoying. So let's pretend I went around the whole outside of the house. So after that, I'll go into the flowers. And so with my personal builds, I always use really neutral tones. Personally, I think that's really aesthetically pleasing. You can absolutely use bright tones. And of course, it depends on where you place your builds. Like, for example, if you're in Sulani, you want to do, brighter colors. I don't usually build in those lots because I use neutral tones. I use a lot of whites, pinks, blues, that kind of thing. So I always use hollyhocks because that is my personal favorite. And since they add a little bit of height, I always kind of put them behind the wild grass. I tend not to put them obviously in front of the windows because that'll just kind of look funny. And then right now I'm just pushing Alt, so that way I have free movement of where I can put these flowers. So I just kind of place them in between the windows. And then I'll add these lupin or lupine. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correct or not. And what I do is I usually I'm pushing Alt again, and I'll just kind of place them in between the grass, just so I can give them a little bit of space so that you can see them, but they're, they kind of look like they're coming out of the grass. And just to add a little bit of filler into the wild grass. And then these sometimes I'll size down. So I'm just using the bracket key to size them down. And these sometimes, since there's a lot of white with the hollyhocks, I'll change their color. So this one I'll either make like a yellow, like these are kind of intense. This color is a little bit crazy, but I'll do like a blue, maybe pink. That's intense. This pink is kind of pretty. So we could do that. Sometimes you can always add, I'll talk about this later, but you can always add like lower things in the front here. But I usually just add some more of these just to add some filling flowers in the front. So a big key to this too is you want to level out the same colors. So like I have this pink over here. You don't want to just have one random pink one. You want to keep the same color tone over here as well. So we could probably make this one pink too, just to kind of keep it even. And that looks pretty. So a big thing too is when you have a corner, I always like to add like one of these ground ferns, because it kind of adds off a little bit of an edge to the corner. So it just kind of makes it so you're not like this boxy shape, because even though you're following the edge of the house, you just don't want it to be like this really predominant square, if that makes sense. So I always add like a fern or something kind of low. Another really pretty option, I love this plant, this hosta plant. Sounds like pasta. You can make it smaller. So a lot of times, I know this is kind of like a circle. It's kind of a weird shape, but if you put it here, so a lot of times like you'll see in my builds, I'll put it in the corner and it looks random. But if you take a stone and you kind of just push it right underneath, it adds a little bit more depth in the front to kind of round out this corner right here. And then you can take like one of these shrubs, this one, this unkept shrubbery tall. Is that what it says? Yeah, shrubbery. And you put it right in the corner just to add a little bit more depth. So you're just kind of rounding out this corner right here. So you don't want to just have like this random plant here, nothing in the front, nothing behind it. So you just want to add your eye to kind of go in the back. And that way you just add a little bit of sense of there's something still there to kind of lead to the back of the house, if that makes sense. I hope I'm explaining this correctly. I'm just kind of like going off the cuff. So after that, what's really nice about these colors is that they're so neutral, you can really mix and match. So I have all of the packs except for Get Famous. So I am in love with these round flowered cactus from, what is this one, Strangerville? And like this pink in there is so pretty. So I've been using these a lot. So like, I'll just kind of move this out of the way a little bit. And if you add that, see how this pink matches like the pink in Me's? So you just kind of bring a little bit of these colors together and it just looks so, so pretty. Like even this fern matches with this kind of, you can change the color of this to match that fern on the other side a little bit more. And you can play with those colors a little bit. So the biggest thing that you want to do though is using the terrain paint, because obviously that makes it look the most natural and real. One option you can do is you can layer the terrain paint. So what I've been doing is I've been using this Ultimate Green Thumb Challenger, and I was using that first. So I would kind of put this underneath first like this. And then I would take the Muddy Mud and put this like that. So it would just kind of give it a little more sense of realism. And then obviously you can like, you know, make a path this way from the front of the house down or whatever you want to do. Or you can just take the Muddy Mud and kind of go like this in the front. So this one you can see has just a little bit more depth. And then this one is just the brown. I mean, both look really nice. It just kind of depends on what you want to do. So another thing that's really fun that I love doing and I love how it looks is if you go into decorations, you go into, I never know which one it is, wall decorations? Yeah. So the lines in the wall, the vertical lines, you put here, you can make, I usually just make them white because it looks more like a lattice. And then you do the horizontal and vertical, and you can make this look like a trellis. So it just adds this little sense of personality to the house. So you can see like the build looked terrible. I mean, this is not a pretty house. And it just looks so much better. And we really didn't do that much. I think the biggest key is layering. That I think is huge. And obviously adding things like stones and stuff like that really, really helps make it just more personal instead of just having flowers, because it just adds different textures and things like that. So if you have a stone on this side, obviously I would put like one here. Get rid of this thing. So I would put one here. You can maybe put one tall one over here. So you can just experiment, play with it, stuff like that. So that's kind of what I would have for the front of this house. And, maybe I hate that you can't clone this thing because it's like a hidden item. I always want to clone the cactus. So we can maybe put this over here. So you can kind of just have it even on each side. So I think, that looks pretty. I like it. I don't like the house, but I really like the landscaping. Okay, so let's come over here. So this house is more modern, and I'm gonna do like a desert landscape. So we'll do something a little bit different with this one. So this one, I definitely want to use a lot of the cactus from the Strangerville pack. So I'm gonna use this cactus because it's really pretty, and I love this one. So this one is fun to work with because it's a really cool shape and it looks really pretty with this hosta plant. So these colors all go together really well. And believe it or not, it really actually goes well with this grass. I use this grass for everything. I think it's just super neutral. It goes with every style. So I would highly recommend using this for any type of build. I think it just looks really pretty and it fills out the areas. Oh, before I forget, another really great flower to use in any kind of cottage is hydrangea, and just make them white because a white hydrangea is beautiful and it's like one of my favorite flowers. Anyway, side note. So I always use this wild grass. So I'm gonna put this here, and I think I'm just gonna kind of like fill out the corner. So usually like corners like this, you can either fill it like this, or since I'm gonna be doing kind of more like a cactus modern look, I think I'm gonna use an item instead of an actual plant. So I do that too, where I tend to kind of mix and match. So I love this planter from the Eco Life pack. So I'm gonna put that here. And I think that looks really cool. It just adds a little something different. And then we can put this on the side of the house over here or something. And put one of these here, and maybe like this, make this a little smaller. And then definitely put some rocks. So we're just gonna try to like fill in this corner as much as possible. And like resizing rocks is always good too, because you don't want to have them all the same size, because that just kind of looks funny and monotonous when they're all the same. So a really good thing too is adding like fountains and anything you can put to kind of fill in space if you don't really know what to add. So I'm gonna use this kind of larger cactus, but I'm gonna make it smaller. But you can see too, like this cactus doesn't look bad with this grass. Like I still think it looks good. I think it matches pretty well. And you can put kind of things like this in the corner. And I think I've used, I can't remember if I've used these before. I think I might have actually. I don't know. Okay, well anyways, these iris flowers I love. So I always size them up, and they add such a pretty tone to everything because they have really, really pretty swatches. Like this blue is really pretty. This yellow is really pretty. That's not, but this one is, that's pretty. I like that one a lot. I use that one all the time. So I like using these even with a desert build, to be honest with you, because like this kind of coral red goes with so much, and you can really mix and match these colors too. I mean, I honestly, if you just putting in what you like, I really feel just you can go with whatever, because if you have the same kind of tones and colors, oh wait, I'm not going to do that. If you have the same kind of tones and colors, then you can really mix and match good flowers, because like these iris, like you would never think would look good in this build with cactus, but I mean, it works. So I'm going to do this sand underneath this, since this is more of like a desert landscape. And then I'm going to do the mud over it, just so that it has a little bit of that kind of sand vibe. And then we'll do a pathway. And then let's put maybe in like a fountain, if I can spell. And it's kind of big. Don't they have a smaller one? Oh, okay. See, this is annoying. See how it gets like a shadow and something weird? So don't do that. That's happened to me too many times. Okay, maybe I'll just do this thing. Okay, we can put this here. Oh, no, wait, actually, I like this one. This is a good one. Okay, I forgot about this. So we can put this here, and then kind of put some landscaping around it. This might be a little bit big. I might have to make this smaller. That's a good thing too. Like, this is all just trial and error. I mean, I'm just doing this as I'm making this tutorial, because I kind of wanted to just do this on the fly, because I think that's the best way to do it. And a lot of times that's just what I do. I kind of just see a build and I envision it, and then I'm like, okay, how am I going to put this together? And you can resize things and get a feel for it, and then just kind of go with it, which is really fun. So a lot of times, stuff like this, you know, like kind of small in the front is really nice. You can always, you know, obviously you can add lights and just kind of make it more, you know, homey and lived in. Like, I'm not going to decorate anything out in the front of the house, but you know, once you do more things like that and decorate, like obviously it'll look a lot nicer. But I kind of want to fill in and just add some symmetry to this side, so we have some of the grass. So this, I kind of want to put in on this side. So just add a little bit, not make them big, but just add the same colors there. And then we'll do some of the, I'm going to do some of the sand and then the mud, just to keep it similar. And then we'll do some stones. And here, these are cool. I like these. Okay. So I'm just gonna put this stuff kind of in the front of the house, and then we'll do maybe like these agave are really neat. These are with the Jungle Adventure. And then this one I think is just like a base game. So I always just kind of try to fill in around the fountain, so it's not just kind of like, you know, in space, I guess. So a lot of the times too, it's nice to like add something different in the front where it's not just landscaping. So it's something, you know, just kind of unique. And this house, I put like a little top area. So a lot of times I put that when I build kind of more modern homes, and I will put something like this on the top. Let's just pretend it'll fit, but it's usually something like that. Just add a little bit of extra landscaping on top. So that's this house. And I think that looks pretty nice. I mean, that was kind of quick, but you know, the colors all kind of flow together, and this is kind of more like a deserty landscape. So this house is, let's pretend it's a very nice suburban home. So I wanted to do something with a foundation because a lot of my homes I build on foundations. And so this one, obviously we're going to use my very favorite. So this is annoying. This happens to me constantly. A lot of times when that happens, I'll just drop the house down flat and, do all the landscaping around the house and then just push the house up again because I just don't want to deal with it. So a great filler around foundations is, I don't know what it's called because it's a debug item, but if you have cats and dogs, just filter it under cats and dogs and then type in debug and scroll down to where you find the plants. And it is this one. And I wish it had a name because, it doesn't. But it is the best for corners. So usually I have to size it down because it's kind of big. But once I do my wild grass, I'll get this one and I'll just kind of push it into the corners like this. And then you take another one, size it down, and always kind of move them, rotate, make sure that each one kind of overlaps because you don't want it to be linear and unilateral. So that way everything looks like super uniform because, plants in the wild, they don't. I mean, they're lateral, but you know what I mean? They're not like extremely uniform. So that way you kind of want it to look more natural and how it would look out in the wild. So you want it to kind of be more, look as natural as possible. So I just kind of go like this a lot of times too. I'll just kind of outline the house with these because I love how these look, just to kind of like fill in space and make it look as natural as possible. So then I'll just take my wild grass and go like this and like this, and then in the front. That, okay. So then with trees, I usually use where are you? Oh my gosh. Every time when I look for this tree, there it is. Okay, white birch tree. So I always use this tree. I just think it's really pretty for suburban homes. Not too big, not too small. And I really like it. So I always put it near the house. I use my muddy mud, tried and true. And I usually put it under the tree because, it's usually under trees like that. I'm just outlining this plant. And then, so I'll usually use this under the tree, but just for this purpose, I'm going to show you a different plant underneath. So this, you can either use this one underneath the tree, which looks pretty, or I've done this one, which is the, don't know what that's called. Jalapa plant. Jalapa. Please don't kill me if that's the wrong way to say it. I use that one. And I'll just take two and I kind of go like this, like back and forth. So that way it just looks kind of pretty and it's not just like a random tree out in the middle of the earth and sticking out in the ground. So that's just kind of like a cute little touch that you can add. So this makes the house just look more lush and has a little bit more depth to it and everything. So a lot of times you can add lavender, which makes it look really pretty. I really love adding lavender as well. I haven't actually used that as much in my builds as I used to, but I do love using lavender. I think that makes it look really nice. So you can use that. You can use my tried and true favorites. So I'm actually going to use the hollyhocks again. So we'll put some of these in there. And then I really love how these look mixed in with this front bush. I just think it looks so pretty. And then I add in this iris kind of in the front. I just think it looks beautiful. And this pretty pink color always looks so pretty. Just to add a little pop of color and, you know, mixed in with all of the white. I just think the white in the back just makes a really kind of neutral base. And then the pink in the front just adds kind of just a really, really pretty pop. You can certainly add a different color. I mean, I just picked pink, but like this color is really pretty. This yellow, the green stem looks really pretty with the green bush as well. And like this blue is really pretty. Let's try the blue and see how that looks, because I think that's really pretty. Like, look, that looks so pretty. And with the lavender, like that's gorgeous. So you can, I mean, you have so many options, but this is a really, really good kind of base to play around with. So let's add a white hydrangea. I wonder if I can make that a little smaller. So what I always do is I just kind of pull this out probably about this far. So where the corner is, that's about as far as I go. Then I'll take the stones and just kind of hide them, kind of push them in a little bit right into the corners here, just to kind of fill in that corner. And I do the same over here, just to kind of round the corner a little. This one's kind of big, so I'll just make that a little smaller, like that. And I'll either do that with stones or I'll do that with like a fern or something. And then I can add in like one of these and maybe something kind of tall in the corner because it's close to this right here. What's nice about when you have a foundation is you can add like that cactus is a little bit higher and it doesn't look so high, and get rid of it. And you can add like this kind of cactus and it doesn't look, you know, ridiculous because it's next to this foundation and it looks fine. So that looks really pretty. I like that. We can put this over here too. And then we could put like maybe one of these over here. Maybe I can put it here. Go back a little further. There we go. So like, as you know, let's just say this is all lined up to the tree or something. And then you have a little peak over on the side of the tree. But if you can kind of picture this of just like, you know, you're filling out this on the side, you can add another rock here. Like you just continue that edge around the side of the house and then to the back. But it really helps with those lower bushes because it gives a lot of space to really fill around the outside of the house. And so another thing that's really helpful, I think, for just like lived in purposes is bikes. So I don't know if you guys have these packs, but if you do and you have bikes, really cute option is to kind of add it up against the house. I think that looks really cute. It just looks like it's lived in. You can even like put it up here. And I think that looks super cute. Here, let's put it by like, let's say they have their mailbox over here and you could like put the bike. I mean, this is not, obviously it's not functional, but like for a screenshot or something like that looks so cute. So again, we had this really ugly house and I can knock it because I built this ugly house. So we had this ugly house and then look how cute we made it with the flowers. And that really wasn't that bad. So I think that you can completely be a wonderful landscape artist, and it's not that hard. So don't be overwhelmed, because just think about layering and think about neutral tones. And I think if you do a neutral tone base, a lot of neutral tone bushes, a lot of kind of neutral tones in the back. And then if you want to add pops of color, I think it would be perfect to do kind of more pops of color in the front, or maybe like a bright bush or something on the side to kind of just have a neutral base and then have like a really bright, you know, big pop of color on each side of the house or something like that. But always have everything symmetrical. Don't have too many on one side. And just when you're looking at the house, just look and see aesthetically, you know, does this look pleasing to my eye? And maybe have somebody look at it and just say, does this look good to you? Or just get another opinion and just see. And also, if you're still having a little bit of trouble, I do have some rooms on my gallery that are actually like landscaping, I guess, hacks, you can call them. I put them in my gallery that are like my little go-to landscaping. And so I have them here and I can show you really quick. So there's this one, which is like a house corner. So it's like, it's this. And then if you build around it, you can do like this. And it's essentially like a corner of a house. And then you can build a room around it. And you could put windows and, you know, build a house corner. So I have that one. I have like a desert landscape one. I have another desert landscape. I have another house corner. I have, this is like my go-to one. So this is my hollyhocks and, you know, greenery one with the irises that you could totally change the colors of that. And I think that might be it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have 6. Oh, I'm missing one. Okay, well, let's pretend that you saw them all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So anyways, I have some really simple ones that you can just grab and kind of drop in their rooms. And so you could just easily place them around your houses. So I really, really, really hope that this tutorial was somewhat helpful. I have never done a tutorial before, and I apologize if I didn't go over everything or anything that you were hoping for. Please let me know in the comments if there's anything that you wanted me to go over specifically, or if there's anything else that I can help you with. You can find me on any and all social medias under Plumbaleena. You can email me. I'm always here and happy to help. I love doing this. I love helping people out, and I really enjoyed this. This was really fun. I love landscaping. I love flowers. As you can tell, I have a weird obsession with flowers. So I really hope that you had fun and I had fun, and I hope to see you in my next video. And I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you are around this big, beautiful world. And I hope to see you again soon. Bye.